After the grand final last year, Lindsay, I spoke to Tara Jane Stanley and she pointed out that I couldn't talk about York not winning finals anymore.
Oh, right.
You've won that final. You've got to go on and win everything else now. Surely you'll win every trophy this year.
It depends how you look at it, I guess. Our benchmark was the grand final. Anything less than that is a real failure this year. Every game's got to improve. That includes the big games, the semis, the finals. I do think there was a sense of understanding how to win a final that took a lot of process and a lot of thought building up to that final, and then when it kind of came off, I think the girls now feel confident going into games that we know how to do it. And I myself feel probably a bit like that as well, but that's not to say we will, because every other team's got that feeling, haven't they? So hopefully.
It is a strange thing, though, isn't it? You just see it in every sport, not just rugby league, how teams and individuals, they get to finals and they can't win them, but suddenly something clicks and it happens. And what was it like after that final, beating the first team from York to be champions?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just, for me, it was just absolute relief, because I'd been in that situation so many times before, and you're watching the clock tick down, and you just, I can't believe we've blown it again. But no, I thought in the final we actually performed well. It wasn't just a head for head, and it just so happened that York won. I thought that everything we did building up to that and in the game was where we wanted it to be, and it set the tone for going into this season.
Coming and going to the club, are you happy with the way the squad's looking?
Yeah, really happy. We've recruited more staff this year. We've got Danny Holmes, Richard White in, obviously from Hull, helping out this year, and that's really given us a bit more strategic depth to what how we're planning sessions and what we're delivering to the girls, which has been really beneficial for me. And then a few additional players, which is always good to to throw into the mix to keep everybody on the toes.
Everyone's talking about St Helens playing match payments, Leeds and yourselves obviously last year, but these contracts that you're signing players to, how big a step forward is that for women's rugby league?
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see St Helens announce match payments last week, but equally they're probably a little bit late to the party. Match payments are fantastic, but they have been going on for 2 or 3 years now. But for me, it's looking after the player, so the players commit so much to the club, to the sport. Teams have got to come in now with the contracts to say, we are going to look after you. So if a player gets badly injured in the first game of the season, they'll get nothing. If a player gets pregnant, they'll get nothing. So for me, all the clubs now have got to be looking to really reward the players as people, and contracts are the only way to do that.
Because the sport can't go backwards now, can it? You've got contracts playing at Wembley, there's no going backwards.
No, absolutely no going backwards, and while it's a big investment from the club to do that, I think it's the right thing, and hopefully other players and other clubs will see that. For the girls that haven't been paid before to now get player payments is fantastic, but that again brings in all sorts of different things in terms of, well, you're not playing this game because you need to rest, but then I won't get paid, so I really want to play. So I've experienced things like masking injuries, begging to play because they've got the car insurance coming up, things like that, and you don't really want that. I know that happens at times in the men's game, but to have the girls happy where they are with a contract and knowing that they're going to get their money regardless, it's a little bit more security for them.
Is it about clubs buying into the whole concept of Women's Rugby League, Women's Super League? You see how York have built things here, obviously, but other clubs haven't quite given the same level of, any level of support compared to here.
Yeah, and I suppose it's every club's prerogative as to where their priorities are. And at York, it's a massive one club mentality that Clint's drilled in. We train at the same time as the men. We have the same provision as the men. Obviously, the contracts are slightly different, but for obvious reasons. But we're obviously trying to push towards that, and it's not that we've now given them contracts and hoping everybody else does it. We're looking for the next step of what we're going to offer our players.
Dual Reg with Sheffield, how important is it that you give players more game time who aren't in the first 17?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a really great game with them last week where we played some of our fringe players that we weren't too sure how they'd gone after pre-season, and some of the under-19s. Against Sheffield, that were fantastic for both clubs, and I think going into this season to have that real strong relationship with that club is going to really, really be good for both sides.
Really looking forward to the first game then and getting things underway.
With Sheffield, yeah. No, we are, and they understand that some of what we class as the first team need a run out, need to stretch the legs and see where they're at, but equally being respectful to our opposition and making sure that they've got areas that they can really get something out of the game.